Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, Jan Michael here. If this is the first Oscar predictions video of mine you are clicking on, then please note that I do my predictions a bit different from others. I only talk about the Oscar prospects of the films that released month of, in this case, June of 2026. If you're curious to why something is on my list that I didn't talk about in this video, there's a good chance it's going to be in my previous videos, so I implore you to go check those out. With that being said, how exciting, guys! With this video, I'm finally going to be caught up with my Oscar predictions. It's been a long time coming. I'm excited to finally be caught up with you guys, if you will. But note that this video is also going to be jam-packed with a ton of content. Like, look at this nonsense. I got more pages than ever before. However, I will say a lot of it is in the shorts categories or the international categories where I don't think they're going to have much of a chance to actually break into the top 5, but I think they're worth the mention just because there have been Oscar rumblings on pretty much all these films. So I will try to move a little bit quicker since these are going to be Oscar potentials that probably aren't going to be on a lot of people's radar, but I think are worth the mention. So sit back and relax as we go through my Oscar predictions for June of 2026, starting with the theatrical releases. Masters of the Universe. A young man on Earth discovers a fabulous secret legacy as the prince of an alien planet and must recover a magical sword and return home to protect his kingdom. If you've seen the film, I feel like the synopsis isn't really all that accurate to what actually goes on in the film, or at the very, very least, severely underplays it, but whatever. Whatever the case. I take these directly from IMDb, so I don't try to, like, go crazy with them. Anyways, yeah, this is probably not going to be an Oscar contender, but I am going to throw it into the visual effects category, mostly because we have Tim Burke here, who has been nominated 4 times prior and has won 1 of those 4 times. So yes, there is a Oscar-winning visual director, if you will, behind the lens, and I think that's very important to keep track of, especially when you're thinking about who is going to end up on the short list by the end of the year, who could potentially break into the Oscars, and visual effects is just one of those categories that you can get a lone nomination in there. It's not unheard of, so gotta take all this into consideration, but yeah, it wouldn't be very high up on my own personal list, if you will. Disclosure Day. If you found out we weren't alone, if someone showed you, proved it to you, would that frighten you? Thanks, IMDb. You're killing it with these synopsises today. Well, I don't know. Anyways, Disclosure Day. Yeah, I don't have any hope in Disclosure Day whatsoever, but there are Oscar potential here in a few categories. Like, I've seen some people go crazy and be like, oh, Best Picture, Best Director, fuck off with that nonsense. Let's talk about what it could seriously have a shot at. Starting with Emily Blunt, which I hear gives one of her all-time best performances of all time. As I understand, she would very much be worthy of getting into the Oscars for this role. But again, that movie was like a financial disaster. Nobody really liked it all that much. Even the people that did enjoy it, I didn't see anybody like raving about it like, oh my god, this is like his best film of all time. None of that nonsense. Or if there was, they weren't loud enough to make me pay attention. So while I understand she is fantastic, I'm not ultimately going to include her in my 5, but I do think she is worthy of, at the very least, a consideration, just because, again, I hear she's fantastic there. The most serious prospect it has is for original score. John Williams gets in all the goddamn time. He doesn't need to, but he does. Currently at 54 nominations, and he's won 5 of those. So, yeah, the dude's a legend. Like, it wouldn't be surprising if he gets in for this. I also did include it into sound. I think that there is some prospect there as well, like if the film ends up being a little bit more liked than we thought it was, at least by the Academy, maybe it could sneak its way into sound as well. And I will say that Gary Rydstrom has previously been nominated 20 times and has won 7 of those 20. So dude has a pretty damn good track record there. So yeah, I could see sound coming along with the package if there is a little bit more love than is currently being shouted out. But yeah, apart from original score, I am quick to dismiss almost any other categories. But again, I gotta give it a mention. I don't want to be spooked by the end of the day if it does end up showing up. Toy Story 5. Woody, Buzz, Jessie, and the rest of the gang's jobs are challenged when they're introduced to electronics, a new threat to playtime. This is a no-brainer for animated feature film. Like, the last two won animated feature film, and yes, you could argue 4 probably shouldn't have won. Not that that was a bad film, mind you, but just come on, no, we didn't need to give it the win in that year. Is that going to be the case this year? Is Toy Story 5 a weaker entry and it's just all downhill from here? I personally liked it better than 4, but I mean, what impact do I really have on the voters or anything like that? So I don't know. If it goes on to win, it wouldn't be bad, but as of right now, I prefer Hoppers. I think Hoppers is just such a great, it's a great, cute film, and it actually got me in the feels somewhat, which is pretty rare for an animated film to do. Like, Toy Story 5, I went in going, okay, if there's one that's going to get me in the feels, maybe it's going to be this one. Had sweet moments, but I wasn't moved. My heart was beating just fine. Anyways, let's say that the Academy really does love the film. I can also see it getting into original song for I Knew It, I Knew You. This is Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is like poison when it comes to the Academy Awards. She can never get in. I don't know what it is. Everyone loves her except for the Academy. Why? Why is that? I don't know. And this is not coming from a Swiftie. I think her music's just fine. It's just not for me. But yeah, why not? Just give her the nomination at the very least. But I threw her in there, but I don't have any big hope for her getting in just because of her track record. And again, Toy Story 5 has it lost its luster? Are people just looking for something else? I guess we'll find out soon enough. Supergirl. Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, joins forces with an unlikely companion on an interstellar journey of vengeance and justice when an unexpected adversary strikes too close to home. Just like with Masters of the Universe, I really don't think this is going to be an Oscar movie by the end of the day, but there are 2 areas I do want to include it at. First is makeup and hairstyling. I actually hear the makeup and hairstyling is very good in the film, and I think that's the lone nomination most people are even considering it for, and it's actually Peter Schwartzking, who has actually been nominated twice and has won once, so yeah, there is talent there. I'm also going to include it into visual effects, not because I think it's going to get in, but just because you always have to at least consider these type of films to be somewhat of a visual effects contender. I mean, maybe it'll get shortlisted. Who knows, right? You just don't know. I know the Superman film really, didn't stand any chance. People thought it was going to, but it didn't make it at the end of the day. So what chances do Supergirl have? But again, we just got to mention it for now. And I will say this is Jeffrey Bowman, who has been nominated once before. So again, there is talent there. There's somebody who's made it into the Academy. It's not like anybody has to kind of prove themselves to get in for the first time. So I always kind of tend to lean more for, yeah, maybe with those, just because, yeah, the Academy loves to do that sort of shit. Okay, so those were all the theatrical releases that came out in June that I think have any hope for Oscar prospects. And now it's time to move on to the film festivals, which I gotta say, there's quite a bit of them, so you're gonna have to bear with me here. But again, I'll try to move fast with these ones this time. There's nothing really major here that you have to, like, really hold on to tightly. It's just films that I've heard really great stuff about. Though I will pause if there is something I think you need to be a little bit more serious on. So let's start off with the Tribeca Film Festival with 32B. A clueless single father is told his teen daughter needs a bra. His attempt at shopping for her first one turns painfully awkward. This one won Best Narrative Short at the Tribeca Film Festival, and as I understand, is a dark comedy, which is my favorite genre of film, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing this one. I'm going to include it in my 5, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Silent Voices for now. Not going to really fully justify my trades here and out unless I think it's worth noting about. Just know that a lot of these are going to be just on personal flavor. You just don't know with the shorts very well what the Academy is going to be thinking, what it wants to do. So I'm just going to give you my own personal take on it, and I want to see 32B, damn it. American Zoo. America's first private zoo, the Catskill Game Farm, created cherished memories before deteriorating and shutting down in 2006. Filmmakers find home movie reels in the ruins that reveal a startling new chapter in the zoo's past. I'm freaking super excited to see this one. I've been hearing rumblings of it. I've been seeing what other people are saying, and this almost plays out like a thriller, like just the discovery of these home videos, which I'm not going to ruin what some of those discoveries have already kind of been revealed to be. Like, if you don't know anything about it, I think this is really going to be a huge gut punch. It's so fascinating, just the few things that I've discovered, and I'm really excited. I'm most definitely including this in my top 5. I'm very excited for it. This also got a special jury mention for the documentary editing portion of it. Yeah, I think there is something here. Even if it doesn't go on to get nominated, I definitely think you should hunt this one down, just because the synopsis, if you will, alone, I think is fascinating. What am I going to knock out, though? I am going to go ahead and get rid of Knife, the attempted murder of Salman Rushdie. I know that seems kind of stupid. This guy has previously won and been nominated twice for an Oscar, so it might not be the smartest move if you're trying to predict these right, but again, gotta go with my own personal flavor here, and I'm really looking forward to American Zoo. Cotton Fever. A tapestry of interconnected characters struggle to outrun the cycles of addiction that bind them, as they lean on one another to keep hope alive. This one won multiple awards, and as I understand, its writing is fantastic. This could be the makings of a single lone screenplay nomination, if the year wasn't already so stacked with just the things that I've been talking about. Just what I've been talking about is already looking impressive, and there's more. And so I don't think at the end of the day, Cotton Fever has a chance of getting in. But again, I want to give it a mention, I gotta say, because, you know, whenever something is getting celebrated, but it's probably gonna fall below the radar, I want to give it a shout out so that way you guys keep it in mind. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to include it in my top 5, though I am very much looking forward to seeing what this is all about. Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. A boy with a sun-bright head lives alone in the clouds, finding it hard to make friends. When a prank brings him down to earth, a chance meeting changes his self-perception. This one won the Best Animated Short Film at the festival, and so yeah, I'm going to include it just from the animation style to the wins has got me thinking this could very well be an Oscar contender. As such, I'm going to get rid of Susurros, mostly just because that's like a 7-minute film, and the Oscars tend to go for things at least a little bit longer than 7 minutes, if you will. So that's really all I got on that. Funk. An exhilarating music-driven portrait of a young woman's rise to the Rio Favela Ballet music circuit, reclaiming her agency in a world that tries to consume it. This is director Ali Moritiba, who has previously gotten 2 other films chosen to be her country's representation at the Oscars. I don't believe they actually ultimately got chosen to be at the Oscars, but hey, your film just being chosen out of how many come out in your country, that's pretty damn good. And to do it twice, yeah, I think this should be on your radar if it wasn't a so packed year of amazing international picks. So that's really where I'm kind of struggling with. This did get a special jury mention for the performances of the film, but I can't include it. I do want to mention it. Like I said, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but you should keep it on your radar, even if it doesn't ultimately end up an Oscar darling. Insufficient Fare. A discarded Metro card defends its legacy against a city that's moved on, tracing its rise as a New York icon before facing obsolescence with a nostalgic farewell. The synopsis makes it sound like this is more like an animated short film rather than a live-action short film, but the only reason I'm even including it here is this did win the New York Short Award here, and that's really all I got. That's really the only reason I'm including it here. I'm not putting it in my top 5, but whenever something wins an award at a festival, it automatically fast-tracks you to get an Oscar nomination. You don't have to release in theaters anymore. You don't have to make a certain amount of money. None of that nonsense. That's basically your golden ticket to being considered. You're in the eyes of who's ultimately going to get you in. Doesn't mean you're gonna get in, but it's a lot easier to do so this regard than going through the traditional route. So that's all I got to say on this one. Jail Time Records. The riveting, intimate Jail Time Records profiles the first prison recording studio on the African continent and 3 incarcerated artists who express themselves through music. What a fascinating thing that I didn't even know existed. This is definitely something that is an Oscar prospect. And to make the point even more, it's already won 3 awards. Yeah, you should have this in your top 5. I'm gonna have it in my top 5. And as such, I'm gonna have to get rid of What Will I Become? This is getting tougher to choose what I gotta knock out here. But this isn't even personal flavor. I think it's a fascinating topic. But this is everybody's loving this film to the point that it's giving them multiple awards. So yeah, I do think you need to take this one seriously. Memorizu. After his father-in-law breaks his leg, Yuta travels to a rural town in Kyushu to lend a hand at the photo studio he runs in this beautiful meditation on memory, time, and the power of images to connect people and family. This one won Best Narrative, and look, not to repeat myself, while I do think this does have Oscar prospects, there's just stronger competition out there. It didn't make such a big splash that I've been hearing rumblings of it. I had to dig for this one, if you will. So while it can still get a rise later on in the year, I just don't think it's made the impact as of now to be considered a top 5. But it is considered for a mention, which you should check out when you get a chance. Skateboarding is not for girls. When a conservative tradition of bridal sale becomes a solution for a financial family problem, Adela dives into a completely new world where she gets caught between traditional and modern values. Yeah, heck the man, I say. I love films where they're like, fuck tradition. Not that tradition is necessarily a bad thing, but it can be. And this film went on to win the prestigious Nora Ephron Award, which means it has a very good shot at being an Oscar-nominated film. Once again, if the competition weren't so steep, I'm sorry I can't include it in my top 5. Oh god. Look, I don't know what to say anymore at this point in time. Just know that I'm giving these a mention just because there is a chance. There's a chance. I just don't see it as of right now. So, boom. With time running out, Sweet Tea gives her younger sister a crash course in how to jail, who to trust, how to make bootleg makeup, how to cook. But as the sun rises, one question remains. Does she take the lesson or run? Oh yeah, this is totally a live-action short film contender. I think with its special jury mention of narrative short, with its way that it's presenting its synopsis, I think that alone makes me very intrigued. But I do think the story could potentially either tug at the heartstring while being funny at the same time. Maybe it's dramatic. I think there are so many different ways you can kind of portray this type of story. So yeah, I'm gonna include it in my top 5, and I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of Diego for now. And it's only going to get tougher as I eliminate other things throughout this video. Summer of 3. After moving to LA following his father's death, Javi is forced to return alone to Puerto Rico for his grandpa's funeral. He soon meets Luffy and Kiki, 2 social misfits who turn his summer around and entangle him in a love triangle. This film did a very hard thing. It won a double prize at the festival. And that's not an easy thing to do from what I understand. And being Puerto Rican, I find some pride in that. Anyways, it's still an international feature film, but as such, I can't actually put it in there. I hear that the main actor of Marcel Ruiz is fantastic in this film. Like, if, again, in another year, this could really be a thing, but I can't include him in actor, though I will give him a mention here. The only thing I'm actually going to hold on to it for now, and I'll be honest, it's only going to be for a short while, is for original screenplay. I'm going to get rid of Fatherland for now, because I don't believe in that film whatsoever. In fact, I could see Fatherland just getting no Oscar nominations. But that's the reason why I want to put Summer of 3 in there. It at least has, you know, an achievement under its belt already, which is more than I can say about a lot of other international films this year. Sorry. Not to be mean. Not to be mean. The Tropic Sun and His Eyes. A despondent young man embarks on a journey to reconnect with his estranged father. Accompanied by an inquisitive street kid, he races against time to share his father's parting words before it's too late. Alright, so this film actually has a pretty big backing behind it, as well as it winning the Narrative Director Award at the festival. So I do think this is going to probably end up on a long list, but ultimately, I can include it. See my aforementioned reasons why, but yeah, whenever you got a big name, or I should say studio, behind it, I do think you got to take it a little bit more seriously, and thus, it's here. Violet and Marlowe rob a bank. After a tyrannical President Rabbit monopolizes the world's carrots, a pair of husband and wife rabbits from the countryside risk their lives in a series of factory heists to take them back. Sold! The animation, the story of this looks so goddamn adorable. I want to see this, even if it doesn't get an Oscar nomination. But just to kind of back up why it could, this did win the animated short at the festival, so yeah, I'm gonna include it in my top 5. This is all flavoring, baby, on top of the wit, of course. So yeah, I know I just put it in there, but let's get rid of Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. All these other ones I'm much more looking forward to, but like I said, this is just gonna get harder the further along we go. Zejtune. A young woman set on leaving Malta meets an aging troubadour whose music reawakens a love for the country she is determined to escape. Once again, there are some impressive things behind this film, such as, once again, a company that is backing it. A big company, mind you. It also won the best writing of the festival. And then this director, Alex Camilleri, their film has been chosen in the past to represent the country. So there are some very good stats here to help it get into the Oscars. But not going to repeat myself. It's not in my top 5, and you know why. Alright, so that's one film festival down. I still got more to talk about. So let's move on to the Sydney Film Festival, which I know you're like, Sydney, what, doing all the internet? No. Just the ones that I've heard the biggest rumblings on. I swear I'm not going to just waste your time with a bunch of nonsense. There are some things here in this festival that I will be including in my top 5 on the individual categories. So let's dive on in. Catching Eyes. 2 Aboriginal teenagers in Yirrkala Arlam land fall for each other, but must balance their growing romance with the complex cultural traditions and kinship rules that govern their community. This one won the live-action short prize at this festival, and yes, I do think should be considered a major possibility, but I prefer the other synopsises and storytellings a bit more, so I'm not including it in my top 5, but this is one I do think you should be serious on. Ceremony. From rum-shackled nooks on radio in Bella voices trace the disappearance of the Ooligan Run, revealing a buried history deeper than the river itself. Oscars do like their Native American stories, especially when it's bringing things to light, injustices that need to be rectified, or just things to make you better aware. As such, I'm going to include this in my top 5. I think it does have the rumblings of a final Oscar-nominated film. This has also won multiple prizes, so I think it's in a very good spot right now. And God, I hate to do this, but I'm gonna get rid of Steal This Story, please. Though I don't want to. I feel like that could totally be an Oscar thing too, but you see the struggles? You see the struggles that I have to deal with? Our choir has always been traveling. An animated documentary exploring how the renowned Natara Choir, previously Hudson-Berg Choir, from Australia's Northern Territory, influenced generations of singers and left its mark on the music worldwide. You heard that right. It's an animated short documentary. So yes, it can get into animated short, and it can get into documentary short. I'm not going to include it in documentary short, however, because all the praise that I've been hearing about it has been on the animation side of things. So yeah, actually, it even won the animated prize over at this festival. So I'm actually going to include it in my top 5 for now. I'm going to get rid of The Last Spring. And I think the only other thing that's holding me back is, as I understand, this is also a very short animated film. So yeah, you always want to kind of be cautious with those. The Oscars do like longer animated shorts. Is that an oxymoron of some sort? But yeah, that's kind of what I got now. Time and Tide. In a remote Chinese town, an authoritarian father forces his wife and daughter to take care of him after he suffers a stroke. V. Shi, his son, explores filial duty and the legacy of patriarchy, questioning who must pay the emotional and financial price for an absent and violent father. I believe this also got its theatrical release already, though it's very limited, so good luck catching it in a theater. But this one did get amazing reviews, like some of the best reviews of any documentary feature film of the year. It did win the documentary prize at the festival, and as I understand, it has a very unique filming style. All of this makes me think this really should be a more serious contender, and I can see it very easily being on the final short list. Will it ultimately go on to get nominated? Yeah, I think it's a very strong possibility. I'm not going to include it in mine for now, just because, again, personal flavor, I think some of the other ones are just far more fascinating, and I really want to see those more. But I really do think if you are doing your own predictions and you're trying to take this seriously, give this one serious consideration. The wolves always come at night. A young Mongolian couple's lives are uprooted when climate change forces them to leave their rural home for the city, where they must adapt to an unfamiliar way of life. So this one's actually pretty unique, as it is both a documentary feature film contender and an international feature film contender. Neither of which I'm going to include, I'm sorry. We'll just go quickly. My list is getting too long now. I gotta think of what to do in the future here. But yeah, I wanted to kind of give it a shout out just because it has been getting pretty good reviews, and I think just the uniqueness of it being documentary and international will kind of perk up some ears to go like, oh, how's that the case? Let's find out about that. Not that it's all that unique a thing. It's happened in the past, but whenever you hear something can get like multiple nominations in the below the line categories, I think there tends to be some like, oh, let's find out what that's about. But that's really all I got to say on those. Again, not including it in my top 5 for now. All right, we're coming to the end of it now. These last festivals, I'm going to move even quicker through just because there's not really a lot to talk about. But again, things that really just caught my interest here. Starting off with the Palm Springs Short Fest with Facuk. In a God-fearing village, giving birth to a Facuk, an illegitimate child, is a mortal sin. In this narrow-minded, harsh rural environment, fear grows inside a young pregnant woman who is about to give birth at any moment. Yeah, so again, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not. Correct me. But yeah, very interesting story behind that one. And it's an animated short film as well. It's probably going to get gruesome, but I'm not ultimately going to include it in my top 5. Again, personal flavoring, I'm much more looking forward to the other picks here. Fruit. In a time and place where abortion is illegal, a pregnant woman's repeated attempts to end her pregnancy fail until she crosses paths with a strange bus driver. A very serious topic in a time where it's gonna be on a lot of people's minds, but that last part of the sentence makes it sound like it's gonna be whimsical, and I hope to God not. I mean, this one did win at the festival here, and keep in mind, a lot of the critics were like big time names like Gus Van Sant, so for him to kind of give his support on it, there's gotta be something there. But yeah, the premises kind of make me think, oh, I hope it's not taking this too lightly, because yeah, I think this is a hot button issue. I mean, anytime, but especially so right now. Water cooler captures ICE agents making small talk, getting coffee, and having casual conversations alongside moments where individuals are suddenly removed and vanished from view. It exposes the dissonance between normal human routine and the severity of immigration bureaucracy. Oh, you best believe this is going in my top 5. This is, like, you guys remember that film that came out a few years ago? Fantastic, like Oscar nominated pick. I think it was like in my top 5, where it's basically was just surveillance footage of just an interaction with a black guy who got shot by the police for no reason, no fucking reason, and it like pisses you off as you hear the cops says, oh, well, here's what we're gonna say to like not get in trouble, and it's just it gets your blood boiling. I'm just talking about it, I'm already angry. Yeah, I could see this being like a very similar trajectory where you're seeing this footage, it's like normal, and then you're seeing horrific things off to the side, and these people just not caring. Just the soulless, the how terrible humanity can be, and it's gonna get your blood pumping, and maybe that's exactly what we need. So most definitely including it in my top 5. and I'm gonna get rid of I Got My Brother. I mentioned this way back when, but the reviews on that one weren't the greatest. I think synopsis alone, if you're just going off of that, it sounds really intriguing. How could that be bad? Well, the reviews are saying it's just okay, and thus I'm gonna remove it. Okay, last film festival. Again, gonna move through this very quickly. This is the Annecy International Animation Film Festival, and we're gonna begin with God is Shy. While discussing their deepest fears on a train ride, two friends are interrupted by an unusual passenger. This one's actually won multiple prizes already, and the reason I'm not gonna include it in my top 5 despite that is that I'm actually not a fan of the animation style. I don't want to say it looks crude, just because that's not the right word, and I've seen crude animation that's really appealing to me. There's just something off about it, but not in the right way. Kind of when I was talking about the end, and I'm like, that's such weird animation, but in a way that you're kind of fascinated to want to know more about it. This one's like the same thing, but opposite. It's weird, but it's almost kind of making me not want to know more about it. I know that's unfair. Obviously, when the film comes out, I'm gonna give it a serious shot. I've been proven wrong in the past, which I've even talked about on my channel. But yeah, I'm gonna be going off of animation alone. It's not something that I'm really looking forward to jumping into right away, but it does have multiple wins, so you gotta keep that in mind. Iron Boy. Kristoff, a 10-year-old boy with balance issues, navigates life in an orthopedic brace, while his straggling family farm faces modernization. Torn between independence and mending ties with his distant father, he weighs his future. I missed this one back when it released at the Cannes Film Festival last month, or previous month from my predictions on this one, and I had known about Iron Boy but because so much more was on Tangles, I thought, okay, Iron Boy's kind of like that runner-up that has a little bit of Oscar rumblings, but then kind of gets shut out at the end. Well, it went on to win, what was it, like 3 awards at this film festival, and now I'm like, okay, let's backpedal here and include it in my animated feature film. This could definitely get in by end of year. Although I will say, my picks here are going to start getting harder, because how do you balance the films that the general public probably won't go see as much with the big popular ones that are also good that everyone's gonna go see? That's a question that we will answer as we continue the video and for future predictions as well. My belly-aching skin. When my body suddenly started breaking out in a rash, I naturally assumed at first that it was a skin problem. But what if the cause of my itching was actually something to do with my stomach? The title is not helping this film. I think a unique title can definitely help push your film into the forefront of people going, the hell's this about? And then those titles where you're like, I don't really want to see that. It has the opposite effect. That's the theme of video, opposites. So while this did win an award, I am not going to include it. I also don't think the animation's all that fascinating, but that's just a me thing, like we've talked about. I don't have anything else to say other than it won an award, so at least give it some consideration. Please. Please is a dark comedy about humankind's desire to love and to be loved, centered around neediness, intimacy, and romance. A stop-motion animated film with Stellan Skarsgård providing a voice? Yes, please. Yeah, is going in my top 5. Let's go ahead and get rid of, I don't know. I guess our choir, like I said, like films that are like, or animated shorts that are like below 10 minutes, let's just say, I have a harder time in getting into the Oscars, so yeah, I'm just gonna knock that one out there. And yeah, the stop motion, the voice actor, there's Stellan Skarsgård doing a voice acting, if you will. All of that I think is going to play very well with the Oscars. The Violinist. As a reporter uncovers the mystery behind an aging violin legend and her treasured instrument, a forgotten story of love, war, and music that spans 80 years emerges. Alright, this is the final film I'm going to be talking about, and what a way to end it off with a film that came out of nowhere. This one, I think, had some rumblings of, hey, looking forward to seeing what this is about, and then just the reviews on it were freaking amazing, going so far as to say that the soundtrack, or I should say the score, just absolutely mesmerizing. I could see this being the one that probably isn't on a lot of people's radar, that just kind of swoops in and everyone has to take notice. So yeah, not only am I including it into the animated feature film category, I'm going to include it in the original score category as well. Whether that's going to stick or not, we'll see. The prospects aren't always that strong with animated films, especially when it's coming from like a different country. But just the early buzzword on it and just kind of the impact that it made has got me very excited to check this one out. I will have to get rid of something for score just because now I'm over the 5, and I'm going to get rid of Coward. The longer I've sat on that film, the more I'm like, yeah, this probably is just going to be an international feature film only type movie. So I might start getting rid of it little by little, or maybe I'll come back around to it. Who knows? But for now, I definitely feel much more strongly in The Violinist than that one for getting into the original score category. And that's all I got for you guys for this month, except, of course, for my tally thus far. So for those of you who are just looking to see what my current predictions are as of this time and moment, here they are. For actor, my predictions currently are Javier Bardem for The Beloved, Sebastian Stan for Fjord, Jafar Jackson for Michael, John Turturro for The Only Living Pickpocket in New York, and Ryan Gosling for Project Hail Mary. For actress, my predictions are Virginie Efira for All of a Sudden, Sandra Hüller for Fatherland, Renata Reinsva for Fjord, Mason Reeves for Josephine, and Sandra Hüller for Rose. For adapted screenplay, my predictions are Ryosuke Hamaguchi and Lea Ledimna for All of a Sudden, Javier Ambrosi, Javier Calvo, and Alberto Cornejero for The Black Ball, Will McCormick and Rashida Jones for The Invite, Alicia Harris for Is God Is, and Drew Goddard for Project Hail Mary. For animated feature film, my predictions are Daniel Chong for Hoppers, Louis Klitschy for Iron Boy, Leia Nelson for Tangles, Andrew Stratton for Toy Story 5, and Raul Garcia and Irvin Hahn for The Violinist. For animated short film, my predictions are Nikki Lindroth Von Barr for The End, Stephen P. Neary for Living with a Visionary, Don Hertzfeldt for Paper Trail, Anna Manzares for Please, and Wesley Wang for Violet and Marlowe Rob a Bank. For Best Picture, my predictions are All of a Sudden, The Black Ball, Coward, Fjord, Josephine, Project Hail Mary. For casting, my predictions are Eva Lira and Yolanda Serrano for The Black Ball, Nina Henninger, Nafis Kaptonwala, and Sarah Kliban for Josephine. For cinematography, my predictions are Gris Jordana for The Black Ball, Lucas Zal for Fatherland, Greta Zozula for Josephine, Greg Fraser for Project Hail Mary, and Adolfo Veloso for Queen at Sea. For costume design, my predictions are Ana Lopez Cobos for The Black Ball, Molly Rogers for The Devil Wears Prada 2, Shirley Kurata for I Love Boosters, Bina Dagler for Mother Mary, and Jacqueline Duran for Wuthering Heights. For director, my predictions are Ryosuke Hamaguchi for All of a Sudden, Javier Ambrosi and Javier Calvo for The Black Ball, Lucas Daunt for Coward, Kristen Monju for Fjord, and Phil Lord and Chris Miller for Project Hail Mary. For documentary feature film, my predictions are Po Si Tang for American Doctor, Tim Travers Hawkins for American Zoo, Bunchy Hunts for Ceremony, Felipe Busto Sierra for Everybody to Kenmore Street, and Steve Happy and Dion Roach for Jail Time Records. For documentary short film, my predictions are Stephen Curry and Penn Bradfoot for The Baddest Speechwriter of All, Ariel Knight for The Boys and the Bees, Roberto Duke for Voice Shift, Emma VF for Water Cooler, and Fanny Texier for A Woman's Place is Everywhere. For film editing, my predictions are Albert Gutierrez for The Black Ball, Mercedes Altanou for Fjord, Anisha Acharya, Nico Lunin, and Kyle Ritter for Josephine, Joel Negron for Project Hail Mary. For international feature film, my predictions are Ryosuke Hamaguchi for All of a Sudden, Javier Ambrosi and Javier Calvo for The Black Ball, Lucas Daunt for Coward, Christian Monju for Fjord, and Andrei Zagastev for Minotaur. For live action short film, my predictions are Mohamed Taher for 32B, Frederico Lewis for The Opponents, Eduardo Broncosa for The Liars, Abby Pierce for So Boom, and Renee Marie Petropoulos for Souvenir. For makeup and hairstyling, my predictions are Flora Moody for 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, Nadia Stacy for The Bride, Bill Corso and Carla Farmer for Michael, Peter Schwartzking for Supergirl, and Sofia Otvos and Augustin Zombar for Wicker. For original score, my predictions are Raul Refri for The Black Ball, Valentin Hadjat for Coward, John Williams for Disclosure Day, Miles Ross for Josephine, and Daniel Pemberton for Project Hail Mary. For original screenplay, my predictions are Jordan Firstman for Club Kid, Kristen Monju for Fjord, Beth De Arajo for Josephine, Curry Barker for Obsession, and Carlitos Ruiz, Marcel Ruiz, and Mariana Belavel for Summer of 3. For original song, my predictions are Runway from The Devil Wears Prada 2, Save the Day from Hoppers, Burial from Mother Mary, I Knew It, I Knew You from Toy Story 5, and Chains of Love from Wuthering Heights. For production design, my predictions are Danny Vermette for Backrooms, Roger Bells for The Black Ball, Charles Wood for Project Hail Mary, Susie Davies for Wuthering Heights. For sound, my predictions are Eugenio Battaglia for Backrooms, Alejandro Lopez and Anna Harrington for The Black Ball, Valerie Delouf, Yana Sojens, and Flavia Cordy for Coward, Gary Rydstrom for Disclosure Day, and Ethan Vanderin and Eric Adal for Project Hail Mary. For supporting actor, my predictions are Bill Pullman for Everybody Digs Bill Evans, Rob Morgan for Frank N. Lewis, Channing Tatum for Josephine. For supporting actress, my predictions are Tao Okamoto for All of a Sudden, Penelope Cruz for The Black Ball, Gemma-chan for Josephine, Indy Navarrete for Obsession, and Sandra Hewler for Project Hail Mary. And lastly, for visual effects, my predictions are John Knoll for The Mandalorian and Grogu, Tim Burke for Masters of the Universe, Paul Lambert and Max Warnoska for Project Hail Mary, Graham Page for The Sheep Detectives, and Jeffrey Bowman for Supergirl. Whew. Am I getting better at pronouncing those names? Maybe a little bit. Anyways, I do want to mention, just because I know a lot of people are probably going to talk about it, it's one of the last things you just heard, but Indy Navarrete. I know people are going, no, it's lead actress. I said this in my last video, but if I'm going to put her in lead actress, I'm just not going to put her in lead actress, because I don't think, especially with how stacked a year it's being, unless they really, really want to snub somebody to give it to Indy, I just don't see that happening. But I do see it being more of a possibility in supporting actress. And we've had instances of this happening. Hey, this person's being campaigned as lead, and then all of a sudden Oscar nominations morning happens, and fuck you, they're in supporting. I mean, I think the biggest one I always think about is Judas and the Black Messiah. It can happen. Can it happen here? Yes, it can. Will it happen? Who knows? Maybe they're respectful to it. And if they are, I can see them going, sorry, we just can't include you. So you choose. Do you rather not have her nominated whatsoever? Because fuck it, we gotta follow like the tradition things. Or do you rather have her get a nomination in supporting, even if that may be category fraud? I'm sure people will think differently about that. But I'm just trying to predict what the Oscars are gonna do. I don't think the Oscars are your friend. If you have faith that they're going to follow suit, then man, are you new to this game. And yeah, sometimes they are cool, so we'll find out. Anyways, my son's calling me, so I'm gonna wrap things up here, guys. Yes, I'm finally caught up, which means I get to work on other videos, which we'll be releasing soon. I'm already keeping track of all the July films that are coming out, so lots more to talk about very, very soon. Like always, everybody, stay safe out there, and until the next video, have a good one.